Hello, I'm Dana, and welcome to the Prairie Knitter podcast. On this podcast, I talk about all things knitting and yarn related. If this is your first time here, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll consider subscribing and maybe leave me a comment. I will show you our co-host. As always, we've got Odette, or Odie for short. She is officially 14 now. She just had her birthday over the weekend, so she's 14-year-old long-haired Chihuahua. All right, I'm gonna put her down though. All right, so we're gonna start off with what I'm wearing and then move into finished objects, works in progress, and a couple yarn goodies that I picked up. All right, so this is the Aurelia Pullover by Sari Nordland. It was quite the intense knit. Probably not the most intense that I've knit, the second most intense. My finished object wins the most intense now. This was done as a test knit, so I was accepted into the test knit for this. What a test knit is that before a pattern gets released, designers want some knitters to pre-knit the pattern for a few reasons. One being to catch any errors in the pattern, as well as to see the different fits and if their grading has worked out and get some yarn estimates, so you know what kind of yardage to put down for the pattern. As well, it gives them, oh, where'd she go? She ran away. As well, having some test knitters will give you some samples as well. So when your pattern goes live, you get to see it in different sizes, on different shapes, different bodies. So lots of good things. Now, one thing my partner, he calls it slave knitting. You're generally not paid as a test knitter. You do get the pattern for free, and sometimes the designers will give you an additional pattern. So Sari Nordland, she gives an additional pattern. So I haven't knit that one yet. On my list of things to do. So we'll get into a little bit more of it a little bit later on when I show you my finished object. So let's talk about this yarn. So this is called Dreamy DK by Hidden Pond Yarns. I've talked about her a lot on this channel already. She is absolutely one of my favorites. She's a Canadian indie dyer, and she carries an alpaca base. So this is 70% alpaca, 20% silk, and 10% cashmere. So it is so soft. It's also really warm. Now I'm sitting in my sunroom today, so if you've seen my podcast before, change in location today. I thought I'd get to sit out here. I don't often get to sit in the sunroom in the afternoons. In the summertime, it's really hot in here. With all the windows, you get a lot of solar heat. And in the wintertime, it's not insulated. Like it's single pane windows, so it's too cold in here in the wintertime. So we get it in the mornings and evenings, but not so much during the day. Today's a cloudy day. I think it's only like 17 degrees Celsius outside right now. 20 degrees in here last time I checked the thermostat, but it is feeling pretty hot. I'm sitting next to an open window just to get a bit of a breeze. Now, part of the reason why I'm really hot is I'm wearing alpaca. Alpaca yarn is really warm, which is great for our Canadian winters, but really tough to find when to wear it. So I don't get a whole lot of wear out of my knits. I work from home, so I don't wear them around the house. And when I do go out, it's been too hot to wear them. So we'll see as the winter approaches how much I get to wear. But then I'll be wearing a jacket over it, so no one will get to see it. Problems. Anyways, the colorway of this yarn, I absolutely love it. It is called All-Star. If I'm wrong, I will put a correction here, but I believe it's her All-Star color base. So it's kind of like this mustard golden yellow. Stunning. So the reason why this knit was intense is because of all the cables. So you're following a lot of different charts. So how many charts? I don't remember how many charts I had out at one time, but a lot of charts going back and forth, and each have different rows in each chart. So using a row counter doesn't really work either, because you're on row 10 in one chart, row 13 in another. No, it would be even rows in each, but anyways, you get my point. So it gets really, really difficult. One thing now that I'm wearing this sweater is the neckline kind of bothers me. It's a little tighter than what I'm used to. Most of you, if you've seen this podcast before, know I like a wide boat neck for my knits. This one is, you pick up the stitches for the collar afterwards, and then you do a cast off where you fold it over and knit it to your picked up edge. So it creates this little, I don't know, like non-stretchy bit in here on your cast on edge, and I'm just not liking the feel of it here. So I don't know if that's it, or if it's just that it feels too tight. I'm gonna be pulling on it all this video. Anyways. Yes. What else can I say about this pattern? If you notice, I have not weaved in my ends. I am horrible at doing that. I probably never weave in my ends. Sometimes I will do it immediately on the cuffs. Oh, I see this one was actually, I ran out of yarn and had to attach a new ball of yarn. So that's what that one is. And those ones I never weave in. I'm not one for finishing my knits very much. I'm also not one for blocking my knits. So we'll get into that with the finished object. So I think that's everything for this knit. Let's move on to my finished object. So this was another test knit that I did. So I've shown it here a couple of times already. This is the Bloom Where You're Planted. Pullover by Haley Hodge. She is Graphic Knits over on Instagram. So this was the most intense. There was at one point 5 charts that you're following, so I had them all laid out on my knitting chair. The way that I deal with charts is I do a highlight. So when I finish a row on a chart, I highlight it to show that I've done it. It also just gives me that good visual as I'm going across the row to see anything above that highlight is what you're knitting. I find it helpful. Oh, I can hear a motorcycle. We're kind of close to the highway, and we're close to another road that a lot of people like to just go for a drive down. So my apologies if you can hear that. As I said, the window's open, so sorry. I don't know if you want to see the backyard. Does that help? Yeah, can you see the backyard? It goes all the way to the tallest tree line. I don't even know if that's in view, but we got just under 2 acres. So front yard is pretty big. The backyard goes on forever. A lot of work. I don't know if you can see my garden in the back. Probably not. I'm almost done with it. I've got one more row of carrots that I have to pull and prep and can them. We just did a row yesterday, so I've got a couple days worth of canning, and then I'll get to that last row, and then we'll be done. Now hopefully I'll be done before our trip to Italy. That's my hope. Anyways, back to this sweater. So 5 charts at one time. And then when you get to the sleeves, you think, okay, break time. No. The pattern continues on the sleeves. Now, can you see it? See? I don't know, is it showing? It's in shadow for me, so I don't know what you get to see. So it goes on the front of the arm as well as on the inside of the arm. Yeah. And it goes all the way down again. Oh, I did not weave this in. Yeah, it's a really really great detail. I love it. I think it'll be really nice to wear. It's designed to have zero positive ease. Now, I really like baby sweaters, so I had messaged her and asked if I would be allowed to do a larger size rather than my bust measurement. I wanted to go up. What did I go up? I went up like 7 inches. 7 inches of positive ease is what I asked for. So she said that was okay. She really struggled getting test knitters for this because it is a really intense knit. So not a lot of people signed up, especially for the larger sizes. So she said I could go ahead, and I was the only one test knitting my size. So it worked out. She would prefer it if I got pictures of the sweater on a model that fits this. It has a bust measurement the same as the sweater measurement. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe my mother-in-law, my boyfriend's mom. I'll see. We're going out to the cabin next weekend, so I'll bring it with me and get her to try it on and hopefully snap some photos of it on her and send that to the designer. Hopefully that's not too late. The test knit was due yesterday. I finished it on September 30th. Cast off, but it needs a blocking. There's a few fit issues with the sweater, just for the nature of it being lace and ribbing at the bottom. I'm not sure if I like it this way. As you see, it kind of goes in where you get to that lace detail. You see how it tapers inwards? Yeah. I don't find, I don't like that. I like to go straight down. So I'm gonna try blocking it, open up the lace a little bit, open up the ribbing, and see if that pulls it straight, and if I like the fit. Then I am a little worried, as this is alpaca yarn, it might not have the memory to hold it there, or so I hear. I don't really block my sweaters very much, so I don't know whether it's going to keep its shape or not. I do know that blocking changes the drape of the alpaca yarn, and it evens out the stitches. So if I'm doing a plain stocking knit stitch, I have blocked a couple of those just to get the stitches more even. So, but this one is a strand of alpaca silk cashmere blend held with a Surrey silk alpaca. So it is Dreamy Sock by Hidden Pond Yarns in her colorway Evergreen Tree Farm, held with Explorer Knits and Fibers Surrey in the colorway Fir, F-I-R. I'll write it in, you know I'm good for that. So we shall see if that works. If not, I will rip it out. At least to where the, like, at least to here. I'll rip this out and then just knit plain until, you know, about there, and then do ribbing. My other concern, even if it does straighten out and gets a couple more inches, because it is a little bit smaller than what it's supposed to be, I'm worried that visually where the bottom lace starts chops my torso in half and shortens it. Now, I've always been a little like, do I have a short torso or a regular torso? I'm not sure. Do I have long legs? I don't know what makes up the majority of my height and what's my proportions. I'm about 5'8"-ish. I am the shortest one in my family. My mom is 6 feet tall, so shortest one at 5'8". I do feel like I have long legs. I've always had an issue with pant length size. However, I have had some issues with torso length. Now, I used to be a lot smaller than I am now. I'm in my, let's call it mid-30s. Let's just put it there. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not as small as I was when I was in my early 20s. So when I was in my early 20s, I really struggled with length on shirts. To wear my size in shirt, everything is shorter. And as you go bigger in size, it goes longer. Which, just because you're bigger doesn't mean you're taller. And just because you're shorter doesn't mean, or thinner doesn't mean you're short. And you know, I also struggle with sleeve length. Now I get to knit myself, so it goes all the way, but usually things go to here. Jackets especially are trouble. Now, I'm not going to complain much more because I know the struggles that my mom has being 6 feet tall, trying to get things to fit lengthwise. She also has trouble with footwear, which I don't struggle with that. I am a very common size in footwear. So, well, common size, well, I get away with common sizes. I'm actually a half size, and that usually doesn't work out too much. Anyways. Oh, what do you want, Odie? She's crying at me. What? What? Quit interrupting us. Okay. What else can I say about this test knit? Anyways. What else? I talked about the yarn. I talked about the pattern. Talked about the designer. Talked about the flaws. I'll update you next time after it's blocked. See what I decide. Alright, next test knit. This one I love. Okay, this is called the Halftone Pullover by Indigo Knits. My row counter is stuck there. So I've shown this one before as well. So this is as far as I've gotten. I'm like row 30, 34, I think, of the raglan. And there's like 50 more rows of raglan to go. I'm a little concerned right now in that I only knit with 16-inch circular needles. I just like the needle length itself is a little bit shorter than the regular. So if I went up to a 24-inch, the metal part is a little bit longer, and it just doesn't, I don't like the feel of it in my hands. Like instead of holding it like kind of like a handlebar, it's like straight up. Does that make sense? I don't like it. I like how this just curves when I hold it. So I always knit with just 16-inch. Body, yoke, sleeves, cuffs, 16-inch circular needles. This one, because the gauge is small, there's going to be a lot of stitches on the needles, and there gets a point where there's only so far you can, you know, shove these down while knitting comfortably without stitches falling off. And it's usually very tight by the time I get to the bottom of the raglan. This one I fear, just because it's got so many more stitches, I'm going to run into issues. I might have to suck it up, snowflake, and switch to 24-inch. I hope not, but anyways. All right, let's talk about the yarn. So this is actually a two-tone sweater. So it starts off with this orange color at the top, and it's going to transition to this mustard yellow for the bottom half. So let's see. Can I hold? I've done this, and you can see my thumbnails for the past few videos too, where this combo. And then it's got a color work transition between the two. Now, this is a test knit, so the pattern's not available yet. Lovely community. If any of you are watching, hello, and thank you for being so awesome in the chat. I leave for Italy on October 12th. Today is the 2nd. So I've got 10 days before my flight to Italy. And I was considering taking this one along with me to knit on the airplane. But I don't want to be in the middle of the color work section. It's just 4 balls of yarn going at the same time in a tiny little airplane seat. Doesn't sound like fun to me. So I am debating either not working on this one until my flight and then getting the yoke done on the flight and then the color work while I'm in Italy and then working on the body on the flight home. That's option 1. Option 2 is I bang this yoke out right now, finish it, separate for sleeves, do the colorwork section, and then I'm ready to knit the body for the plane right there. Probably won't get much knitting done while I'm in Italy. Then what do I do for the plane ride home? I'll probably sleep. I'll probably sleep on the plane ride home. It's like a 6 a.m. flight from Milan to get home, and that's 6 a.m. Italian time, and they want us at the airport 4 hours early, so that means 2 a.m. at the airport, and then an 8-hour flight to Canada, plus another flight to Winnipeg. I might just sleep on the plane. I don't know. Anyways, you don't want to hear. I don't know the plan. I don't have a game plan. Anyways, let's talk about this yarn. So this yarn we've got here is, focus, 100% cashmere. I bought this in Venice, Italy 10 years ago when I was there visiting with my mom from a store called Lellabella. I'm hoping to go back there this time. We will be in Venice for 3 days, so I am planning our walk through the city that just happens to take us past this yarn store, and hopefully she's got more of this. Different colors. And I'm holding it together with mohair. Now, I have lied to you in my past videos. I thought this was the Lana Kid Silk Haze. It's not. It is Lana Kid Seta. My apologies. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I noticed it the other day when I was at my local yarn store. So I picked this up here in Manitoba at our local yarn store called Wolseley Wool. They used to carry the Lana Kid Silk Haze. They no longer have any in stock, but they do have the Lana. And I noticed that they had the orange and the yellow there, and I was like, oh no, it's not Rowan. Whoops. So I'll correct that for this video. I don't know, can I go back and adjust my descriptions in my past videos? That is my dilemma. Let's show you a picture of what it's gonna look like. So this is a cute little drawing. So the designer, Indigo Knits, I'm just in awe of her. She is in PA school, so that's physician assistant. So she's studying to become a physician's assistant. So she's science, biology, medicine, things like that. I love that stuff too. And she's a knitter. Me too. And she draws, which I used to draw. I haven't gotten into it. I did a little bit of painting. I've got some painting set up there, but I haven't really drawn much in a while. But oh, she does the cutest little drawings. Anyways, this is what the sweater looks like. Not giving anything away. Yeah. So you can see it's got, darker on the top and then some color work and then lighter on the bottom. I don't know. So many people are doing like a really dark green or black on the top and then kind of like an oatmeal on the bottom. And I love that combo. So, and I always wear black tights, and I feel like that would just be chef's kiss. I might have to do one. I don't know where I'd get the dark yarn though. I knit with alpaca. Alpaca is really tough to dye. It's a non-superwash. So it really doesn't take that saturation very well. We'll see. Okay. Oh, and so it's a lace with a lace. So it's supposed to be a fingering weight sweater. That's why your gauge is so small. I've never done anything with a gauge this small before. Except for the Oslo hat. I did knit an Oslo hat by Petite Knit. But I couldn't get my gauge small enough, and the hat ended up super huge. I gave it to my stepdad because I was like, he's got a big head. I knit him for him. And it's way too big for him. It just falls. It's wide. It's tall. It looks... I gotta redo that hat. He sent it back to me. They live in Newfoundland, so I mailed it there. He mailed it back, and I have to reknit it in a smaller size. I don't know, I might do like child size, like stick to my gauge that I had and do a child size, but I can't remember what size needles I used. It's been too long. I knit it for him for Christmas last year, and it's September already, so he might get that Christmas present again for this year. We'll see. That'll be his Christmas present. I finished your ad again. No, I don't know. Anyways, all right, so that's it for that test knit. Let's talk about another test knit, because I just can't stop applying for test knits. There was a few that I had applied for that I didn't get accepted into, which is sad, but probably a good thing because my deadlines are stacking up. I don't know why I do this to myself. I've got so many sweaters that I want to knit, and I bought the patterns because they were on sale, and I just keep signing up for test knits. Anyways, so this next one, I'm keeping it in my Smash Knits bag, project bag, that I purchased at a local fiber festival a few months ago that I showed here before. So that's from Smash Knits. Her little logo is right there. I don't know if that focused. Anyways. Okay, so I'll show you what I have done so far. I cast on today. There's yarn everywhere. That's what I got so far. I don't know, can you see it? I got the shadow behind it. Ooh. Anyways, it's a colorwork yoke sweater, and whoa, oh shoot, I just lost my stitch marker. Let's show you the stitch marker while it's off the knitting. So this is, focus, stitch marker from Hello Lavender. She does beautiful stitch markers. They're all handmade with polymer clay, I believe. I think this one's called Bee Butt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. So it's no longer available. She's constantly making new designs and putting those out. So go check out her on Instagram and watch for any new releases she's got going on. I think she just had one. But anyways, I thought this one went really well with the yarn. Ooh, it's not focusing. Okay, let's get that back on here. Ooh, get that back on here. There we go. All right, let's show you the yarn. So this is the main color. It is called Folklore. It is from Hidden Fun Yarns. Odie, shh, shh. Sorry. Odie, it's not your birthday anymore. No, it's not your birthday anymore. Sorry, I think I saw the neighbor's dog running around outside earlier. They just let their dogs run at large around the entire area, and they often end up like 4 doors down, which is pretty big. Like I said, this is like almost a 2-acre property, so that the frontage is really large. There's only a few houses on the street. It's like the size of a city block, and they just run all over the place. Now my beef with that is they go to the bathroom all over the place. Lovely. That's something nice to find. The other thing is they've got one really small dog, she's super cute. But they've got a larger dog who's about 3 years old last year, so they'd be 4 years old this year. And he likes to hunt small animals. And when I met the owner, so the wife, woman, what's her name? Shirley? Is that even a name? Anyways, Cheryl? Anyways, I told her that I have a 3-pound Chihuahua, and she is very nervous, rightly so, of her bigger dog meeting my dog. She says she's uncomfortable with her dog meeting my dog unless her dog has a muzzle on, to see how her dog would react, because she's afraid that her dog will attack mine. And yet she lets the dog run around the entire neighborhood. Every time I let my dog out to go to the bathroom, I have to check for her dog first to see if he's out there. And there's been a few times where I'm like, okay, I can't let my dog outside because her dog is running around my yard right now. Usually when she's out in the garden, I've gone over and spoken to her about it. And she's like, oh, I'll bring him in half an hour, then you can let your dog out. I'm like, no, get him out of my yard right now. My dog needs to go to the bathroom. She's 3 pounds. She's got a tiny bladder. She needs to go to the bathroom when she's got to go to the bathroom. She can't wait half an hour. And the other thing is, it's my yard. I should be allowed to let my dog out, and it should be safe. Like, I understand there's wild animals and coyotes I'm also checking for, but it worries me. It worries me. Don't really have to worry about her getting hit by a car or anything because she can't run that far without getting too tired. She's 14, so she can't run the length of my driveway, and she's terrified of my yard. She will chase a bunny rabbit about 10 feet and then stop and come back. So I'm not worried about her running off, but drama, the drama of it all. Anyways, we were talking about this yarn. So this is the colorway Folklore. Focus? We're having trouble with focus today. Oh no. There we go. Yeah. This is the Dreamy Sock base by Hidden Pond Yarns. So it's the Alpaca Silk Cashmere blend. This is her Mohair Halo, it's called, base. So it's a mohair silk. Focus. Sorry, it's not focusing. So that is main color. Contrast color 1 is this. It is called Mushroom. So it's kind of this, I would call it almost an oatmeal. I was a little nervous ordering this one. It looked maybe greenish or yellowish online, but I thought it would go really well with the main color. And I love it. I adore it. I absolutely would order this color again. I'm thinking for the halftone, you know, as the bottom color. Like it's almost an oatmeal, I would call it. It's an off-white oatmeal color. And it's like bang on a button mushroom. Like, she nailed it. It's a mushroom. Again, Dreamy Sock, mohair. Now there's a third color in this pattern. And you don't use much of it, but I had to buy the skeins for it. So this is the third color. It is called Earthling, and it's this beautiful earthy brown. Now, I'm not sure if it turns out brown on every base because it looks greenish, like a brownish green on her website. But I don't really see much green, maybe like an undertone of green. Anyways, I love it. I think they go really well together. So let's see. Can I hold them all together? I'll just hold the, gorgeous. Oh, look at that. Scrumptious. Okay, I'm gonna show you a picture of, oh, here it is, what the sweater will look like. Right here, there's a good picture on the back. So you see it's got the color work. It goes down the yoke and then it splits and then you continue with the color work for a bit. So it's just, I really like the proportion of that. I hope, as long as it doesn't chop my torso in half, we shall see. Now, it's an interesting construction, and I was a little nervous about this, and I did consider not applying to this test knit because of this detail. I'm very much a process knitter. Shh, shh. I apologize. I'm so used to her whining that I ignore it. But yeah, she's sitting here whining at me. Anyways, it has a provisional cast on, and then you knit downwards, and then you pick up the stitches from the provisional cast on and knit the collar. And in my mind, I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just cast on the collar, do the collar, then continue the sweater? absolutely, absolutely could. And I considered asking her if I could switch that for it, but her reasoning is that way you get to try it on, decide how wide you want your collar. She does have it designed to have a wider neck, but if that's not your style, then when you pick up the stitches from the provisional cast on, you can do a decrease and then knit the collar so it's more cinched in. So that's why she has it like that, or is why she has it like that in the pattern, is her just description of it. And then I thought about it. I do the Italian sewn bind off and I love the look of it. If you do the provisional cast on, then knit up for the collar, bind off in the Italian sewn bind off, you get the same edge there as you do for your cuffs and for your hem. And I like that idea. I do, I really like that idea. The other thing is she's got it where you switch color. So you switch to contrast color too, so the brown for the bind off. Doing the collar the way she has it in the pattern, that detail will look the same on the cuffs and the hem as it does on the neck. So I decided to do what she says and do it that way. She recommends the tubular bind off in the pattern, but she notes that you can do any other bind off you want. Just knit a couple rows with the contrast 2 color first, then do the bind off. So she tells you how many rows in the pattern, but I'm not going to give that kind of detail away. Come here. Quit crying. Quit crying. You're going to annoy everyone. Come here. No, I'm not playing. Come here. Here's the one who's been making annoying noises. Sorry. Okay, sit there. There's not much room on this chair for her with all this yarn. Anyways, so that is my current WIPs that I am working on. If you've been watching, you know I've got a lot else on my needles, but nothing's been shown any love. This one is rather addictive. So it's got, you know, you knit for a while, do an increase, do a chart, do some knitting and increase, and then switch to another chart, and then some knitting and increase, and it's just one of those where I'm just going to knit this next section, and then you get to that point, oh, just another section, and I'm like, I can feel this yoke go by so quickly. Now, this test just started. I only just cast on today, and there are people already done this sweater. That is how quick it goes. The pattern itself calls for a DK weight yarn. I'm doing a fingering with a lace to create the DK weight. I don't know if anyone else is doing that, but I just love the fabric it creates. It's a little bit more airy and lofty, whereas this is just, it's heavy. It's very heavy and drapey. Maybe it's the cables. But yeah, I'm debating. I just want to knit on this one today and forever. But so I might do that, or I might work on the halftone. I gotta figure out my plans. I've got 10 days until Italy, and I gotta figure out my plans. I also gotta figure out my packing and what I'm gonna wear. I'm going to Italy this time for a conference. So it's a 3-day conference. Of course, we're going for longer, because if you're gonna fly all the way to Italy, I'm gonna stay longer than 3 days. But the point of this trip is a conference for work. I've never really been to a conference like this before. So I work from home usually, so I wear pajamas to work, or sweatshirts to work. I'm guessing business casual, like blazer, cardigan, dress shirt, leggings. I don't want to get dressed. I don't own dress pants. Not dress pants that fit. I'm going in the garbage. So I'm just gonna wear my leggings and get away with it. I'm a little nervous about temperature. It's in Prato, Italy, so it's just outside Florence. I don't know what the temperature is going to be like there. Walking outside is going to be hotter. Inside, you never know. They say air conditioning, but in my experience in Italy so far, air conditioning Not the same as air conditioning here where it's like standing in a fridge. So when you're outside in the heat wearing a tank top and shorts and you go inside and it's freezing, I don't know. I don't know. Do I bring a blazer? All my blazers are 3/4 sleeves. So if it's actually, properly air conditioned, I'll be too chilly. But I don't want to pack too much in my suitcase or carry so much from the hotel to the conference. So I would figure out my outfits. There's also a dinner. Now, do we dress up for the dinners? Like, am I supposed to dress up? Or can I just wear the conference clothes? I don't really have a fancy dress. Not like a fancy dress, but like a, cocktail dress. So I think I'm just gonna play it safe and wear my conference clothes. But do I wear the same outfit? I don't know. If you've ever been to a conference, let me know. I don't know. There's gonna be other, I'm a dietitian, so there's gonna be other dietitians there, maybe some doctors as well. So that's kind of the conference vibe. It's called Gastro Diet 2023. It's put on by Monash University. I specialize in gastrointestinal disorders, so digestive issues. That's what I do as a dietitian. That's all I do is digestive issues. So I talk about people's bathroom habits all day long. So glamorous. But yeah, that's what this conference is about. It's just diet and GI and how those two marry and all the new research. And I'm super excited to meet all the people in the field. So do I get their autographs? Is that like a thing? Yeah, I could bring some of their research papers printed off and get them to sign it. Do people do that? Anyways, back to knitting. So, all right. This one I don't really want to bring with me to Italy because it's 6 balls of yarn going at the same time. It's just too much. I mean, even right now I've got the main color and the mushroom, the contrast 1 on my needles. I don't even have contrast color 2 yet. I'm going to cut the yarn for this one just because it's so infrequent, but the contrast 2, I'm trying to keep that going. This is the situation coming out of my needles here. I don't want to deal with that on an airplane. All right, so enough of that. So yesterday, there was a little, it was called the Selkirk Fall Market in Selkirk, so it's a little town just north of Winnipeg. I live somewhere between there. And I saw that this market was going on, so I decided to go. And there was alpaca yarn, which I knew there was going to be because it is from Enchanted Grove Alpacas. I saw on her Facebook that they were putting on this market. Not her Facebook, her Instagram. So I decided to attend and I bought yarn. I bought 3 sweater quantities. So let's see. I got this color. So these are all undyed alpaca. It's gonna be gorgeous. It is worsted weight. She calls it light brown. And I got this tawny color. She calls it light fawn. And one more. Natural white. And DK. Yeah, the first 2 were worsted. This one's the DK base. It's just a natural white. So 3 sweater quantities, and then this extra, because it was just so soft and squishy. It is a sport weight, but it was a one of a kind, only one she had. And I just couldn't stop squishing it, so it came home with me. So I gotta put these in my yarn shelf now and find some space for it. I feel like my winter is gonna be full of knitting with local undyed alpaca. If you saw my previous video, you would see that from the Manitoba Fiber Festival, I picked up several sweater quantities of alpaca yarn. Now I got 3 more, so I'm gonna get working on that this winter. I think that's my plan, and it's just so soft. It's so soft and squishy, like, so soft. Anyways, that is that. I think I won't do another video until after my Italy trip. Yeah. So we'll see you after that. Maybe I'll get some footage of that yarn store in Venice or any other yarn stores that I see there, or maybe just some footage of Italy, but we'll talk about that in my next video. Anyways, have a great day and say bye. Say bye, Odie. No? Oh, she's growling at the camera. She's growling at the camera. Okay. Bye.